Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking an absolute juggernaut of a cultural phenomenon, Rhonda Byrne's The Secret. Since it dropped, it's pretty much shaken the entire self-help industry to its core, and naturally sparked some intense debate. We're going to look closely at our sources to really understand its extreme claims, the psychological theories at play, and, well, the harsh realities pointed out by its critics. Let's get into it.
So, here's the million-dollar question. Literally, can you simply think your way to wealth? That single question really forms the bedrock of our whole topic today. We're going to explore this massive, stark contrast between folks who fervently believe they can magically manifest millions and the fierce critics who read the exact same material and call it, well, quite frankly, staggering nonsense.
All right, here's our roadmap for This Explainer. We'll kick things off with the secret phenomenon and the law of attraction. Then we'll pivot to the reality of confirmation bias and toxic positivity, before wrapping it all up with action over wishing.
Part 1. The Secret Phenomenon.
Let's wind the clock back to 2004. Following a period of deep personal despair, Australian TV producer Rhonda Byrne discovered some old texts that inspired her to share this whole concept with the world. And the scale of its success, it's honestly staggering. The Secret wasn't just some niche underground hit. No, it sold over 20 million copies worldwide. That's enough to fill hundreds of stadiums. Plus, it was translated into 50 languages. It clearly tapped into this profound, universal human desire to just unlock an easy, magical path to a life completely filled with health, wealth, and happiness.
Part 2. The Law of Attraction.
Okay, to really grasp this phenomenon, we have to look at its core mechanism, which is the law of attraction. The source material makes this massive claim that the universe is entirely made of energy. And because humans have roughly 60,000 thoughts every single day, the idea is that each one of your thoughts acts like a giant magnetic transmission tower. Emit positive frequencies, and boom, you attract positive energy. Simply put, like attracts like.
Thoughts become things. This quote really captures the whole vibe. Proponents argue that the universe, it doesn't distinguish between what you want and what you don't want. It simply responds to whatever you're focusing on. So if you're obsessing over a huge mountain of debt, the universe just delivers more debt. But if you visualize wealth, the universe obediently delivers exactly what's consuming your mind.
The actual methodology in the book comes down to 3 incredibly simple steps. Step 1. Ask. You have to clearly broadcast your request out to the universe. Step 2 is believe. You maintain unwavering faith, basically walking around acting as if you already have the thing you want. And finally, step 3. Receive. This means simulating the exact, precise emotion of already having your desire, which supposedly tunes you to the physical manifestation frequency.
You can see where this mental frequency shift feels so incredibly powerful to believers, right? Especially when you look at the literal miracles attributed to it in the text. For instance, our sources detail this guy named Robert, who supposedly stopped severe, homophobic workplace harassment simply by focusing on positive thoughts instead of his fears. And the claims go way further than that. I mean, we're talking accounts of curing a cat's terminal feline leukemia and even dissolving human cancer, purely through the power of intention.
Part 3. The Reality. Confirmation Bias.
So, we have to ask, what is the actual scientific reality behind this perceived magic? Critics, like author Mark Manson, hit back hard by pointing to confirmation bias. Look, humans have limited attention spans. When you become, as Manson puts it, delusionally positive, your brain simply starts noticing the good things that were actually already there. It's like when you decide you want to buy a specific model of car, and suddenly you're seeing that exact car everywhere on the highway. The universe didn't magically spawn more of those cars, your brain just started prioritizing them.
And this right here creates a massive clash of worldviews in our sources. While Rhonda Byrne claims our minds are literally out there manipulating the quantum energy of the universe, psychology completely counters that. It says our brains are really just seeking out familiar patterns for biological efficiency. Basically, critics argue that The Secret merely takes good old-fashioned confirmation bias and dresses it up in this wild cosmological nonsense.
Part 4. The Toxic Positivity Trap.
Now, refusing to ever acknowledge negative outcomes, critics warn that isn't just naive, it can actually lead to some disastrous real-world consequences. Think about it. If you force yourself to never ever feel doubt, you might end up completely ignoring glaring red flags in a romantic partner, or you might rationalize a terrible business investment just to stay positive. There's this one really poignant anecdote in our sources about a skeptic who tried to manifest a desk while simultaneously stopping her allergy medication. Spoiler alert, she never got the desk, but she did manifest a really severe sinus infection.
Do cancer patients manifest their sickness? Wow. This jarring question exposes the incredibly dark, logical extreme of the law of attraction. If you are entirely responsible for attracting literally everything into your life through your thoughts, well, it logically follows that sick people, or victims of tragedies, actually brought it upon themselves. Critics point out that this creates a deeply harmful and, quite frankly, delusional victim-blaming mentality. Furthermore, psychological research directly contradicts the book's advice to aggressively suppress negative thoughts. Studies actually show that trying to actively suppress a thought, like if I tell you right now to never think about a pink elephant, it actually makes that exact thought completely dominate your mental space. You're probably picturing a pink elephant right now, aren't you? For people dealing with anxiety, forcing out negative thoughts just creates an exhausting, vicious cycle.
Part 5. Action over wishing.
In stark contrast to just wishing your way to success, Mark Manson argues that changing and improving your life actually requires destroying a part of yourself. True personal growth, it isn't just about happy, positive vibrations. No, it's often a really painful process full of resistance. It actually requires us to challenge our own flawed assumptions and forge through some real, tangible hardship.
So let's synthesize everything we've unpacked here today. We can definitely acknowledge the promise that shifting your mindset from lack to abundance can absolutely improve your mood and focus. But we have to recognize the pitfalls, that extreme delusional positivity is a dangerous crutch that basically ignores reality. Finally, we land on practical action, the understanding that we really need to combine a goal-oriented focus with tangible and yes, sometimes painful effort to genuinely improve our lives.
Ultimately, true fulfillment just doesn't come from a magical universe granting your every wish without any effort. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. In the pursuit of self-improvement, are you seeking the easy magic, or are you ready to embrace the necessary struggles? Wish for good problems, not just good rewards. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this gave you a much deeper understanding of the reality behind the phenomenon.